Welcome back to Speech Therapy with Erik Woodz. We're going to talk about depression and brain injury and relationships with others, like family and friends. So, with major neurocognitive disorder, the temporal lobe, which is the front of your brain, which is responsible for emotion, judgment, and control, like decision making. And I had that taken away from me pretty much. It feels like I still do sometimes. And it's very frustrating because I'm a grown man. I'm 30 years old. My brain injury happened October 1st, 2022. That's about 3.5 years ago. And all I want to do is smoke weed, go to the gym, make music, go to church, and live my life. And that's what I did today, except the church thing. I went to men's group yesterday, Monday night. No, yesterday was Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. I went to church this week. I overdid it. As far as faith goes, I'm like intermediate. I'm beginner intermediate. I'm rather humble in how I present myself, which is a good thing. And some people would say that they disagree, but I describe myself as beginner intermediate level, even though I was baptized March 2023. Yep, that was the day, or the month, the time. Coffee, man. I was never this deep into coffee before this brain injury, but man, I need it for me to stay energized, focused, and avoid fatigue, which is basically energized. I love the Folgers instant stuff. I used to love Cuban stuff, but I had this ear surgery in November of 2025, and my surgeon told me that, so check this out. This is how trippy my life is. I signed up for a removal of a bone that was from my injury that was slightly broken. Apparently not broken enough, because the surgeon decided that it was proper to just add some glue to it. The medical glue's got to be very state of the art, because man, this shit is like amazing. Sorry, I got distracted by my Bible app notification. But yeah, so I did go to the psych ward since we're in 2024. Yeah, I went to the psych ward August 29th to September 5th. And I was very pissed because that weekend was fantasy football draft weekend. And it was Labor Day weekend, and I wanted some damn ribs. Oh man. So yeah, I went to the psych ward. I spent time in there. The head neurologist asked me in a one-on-one meeting, "Hey Erik, I know you're a rapper. Are you famous? Or not yet?" And then I was taken aback. I was like, "What do you mean?" He never told me why. I never asked, really. I was like, why? Well, I might have asked. I said, I don't remember what the hell I said, but I was taken aback, that's for damn sure. I was like, why'd you ask that? I think he said the way that I just carry myself or something. Nah, scratch that, dude. I don't even remember nothing about the whole situation except the fact that he asked me, am I famous or not? Or not yet. And that just totally took me off guard, because that just made me realize, like, okay, I gotta be doing something right if somebody who's not even in the entertainment industry or even knows me personally asked me this just out of left field. At least I think it was left field, but he probably did some research. Might have just been my mannerisms, I don't freaking know. But yeah, I did some time in the UCI Psych ward, which is right there off of the 22 freeway by the block of Orange. I remember this because they asked me what would I do if I got out of there, if they discharged me. And then I told them I would walk across the street to the block, and I would just get a Philly cheesesteak and walk around and enjoy some freedom. That's it. Simple man. They also, mind you, I was also in the psych ward where they asked me if I hear any voices in my head. I told my engineer this, and he goes, really? That was a question? And I said, yep, that's my life, dude. My life is really a movie. But let's stay on topic, because I don't want to diddle around and jump around from topic to topic. We're talking about depression in the psych ward right now. You would think that when I was in the psych ward, I would be more depressed, but yeah, because I couldn't smoke my weed because they wouldn't allow weed in there. But now I smoke more weed than I've ever smoked in my life. Take a long toke right now. Fire. Shout out Juice Candy Extracts. But yeah, that's how I knew. I went 5 days without smoking no weed, so I broke out of there, and I was discharged. This is an interesting way of being discharged. So my mom, she set up the emergency psych visit to have me evaluated because she didn't feel safe, I guess, with me in the house. Because I guess I was being kind of loud or whatever. And that's ironic if you know who the hell she is. But she's this tiny little thing. But yeah, she said I had an appointment with my psychiatrist at UCI, but she lied. It was an emergency psychiatrist visit. And then I pretty much told the guy X, Y, and I did X, Y. I went with the program, and then they ended up putting me on a 5150. I walked out of there, I was flipping them off. Sorry, kids. I mean, this ain't children appropriate anyways, so if you see this, I don't know what to tell y'all. But yeah, so I was just in there. And then I got locked up on a 5150 hold. The police officer took me in. He must have called them in. He took me They put me on a 5150. I'm trying to think of how to properly tell this. He walked in. The police officer gave me all the dignity and all the respect that he could in the situation. He didn't cuff me until I got to the car. Talked to me about rap and hip hop, and his co-officers, his partner did as well. But so it was like, we're screwing you over, but we're gonna have a friendly conversation with you while we're doing it. Basically, was the reality of the situation. I remember sitting in the waiting room waiting to be checked in or whatever the hell. Like, that space is when the nurses walk by and then there's just a chair there, maybe a bench across, or just chairs, individual chairs. And then even the nurse who came in to give me my stuff to change into started talking, oh, so you're a rapper? And I was like, yeah. I don't know why the hell this is important right now. What the fuck? You expected me to make... I don't know what the hell. I don't know, man. They're trying to be friendly, I guess. But looking back at it, yeah, I guess it's like, what the fuck else? Just trying to make light of the situation. So good on them. Shouts to them for being so proper and cordial. And my time in the psych ward was it was interesting. I remember there was this guy, David, this nurse there. And we got really cool. We had chats. We got to know each other. Basically just off of rap. And then he came in one day, and he came in my room. I was just laying down. He came and got me. He said, hey dude, we're all bumping your stuff and on YouTube right now. There was like this little living room area, lobby, I'll call it. But yeah, it was a pretty big space, and there was like, I don't know, around between 10 and 20 of us. I really don't remember. There was always somebody getting discharged one day and then somebody coming in the next day or whatever, like the same days, like type shit. But it was a wake-up call. Because all I knew, I asked, what's the fastest way to get out of here? Like, how do I become one of the patients to get discharged? And then, so I'm going to tell you this other story. I asked, how do I become one of these patients to get discharged? And then this guy, I don't remember his name because I have this brain injury, but he tells me, I think it was Colin or some shit. White dude. He goes, honestly, just act proper. And I was like, okay, so just act right? Cool. I could do that. When I'm not triggered. AKA when I'm not living with mom. Or grandma. Because they'd just be saying some shit, dog. So yeah. The psych ward taught me to act right. And my mentor, Papa Joe, the owner of Love and Laughter Studios in Anaheim, he had a conversation with me, like, either the next day or a couple days later. And then he goes, now that the Lord taught you humility, he's going to teach you patience. And I thought patience would probably be like a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. But man, I've been mastering this album since February of last year, and we're halfway done with it now. Like halfway done. Mixing's done, mastering's done for 12 tracks. I have 24 of them. They're all remixes. Oh, here I go talking about my music again. Here I go talking about my music again. That's fine. Let me know if you want some more stuff. Eventually. We keep talking, oh, music saved my life. That's why I keep talking about music. Because music fucking saved my life. I started writing lyrics to songs when I was 16. Like, after I finished a quiz in class, a test early, and I just wanted to kill some time. I was like, okay, I can mess around. I did some high school parties with some friends. I was playing high school football. We're doing some underage drinking. I was like 16 at the time when I started drinking. And I started doing these freestyles in these backyard parties. Shout out to Chris and Mario. Love, guys. But yeah, I just locked in, dude. And then when I found flashback to after when I first learned about being able to record music, it was in the quad after football practice or some shit. It was like the day before a game, so there's just walkthroughs or some shit. And then Samson was telling me a story, and me and some other guys and his girl Emma, about how him and his brother recorded a song to the Drake Fear beat. And I was like, hold on. You did what? Like, you can record music at your house? How did you do this? And then I found out all you need is just the beat, which you can get from YouTube, which I did for my album. And then like a plugin, like Logic or GarageBand or some shit, because we were in high school. I don't know what the hell we were using back then. I didn't even start recording until 18. But I've been with it ever since. I just love it. And I think that's a good way to conclude it. Conclude this message. I feel like if this vibe hits your feed in any way, shape, or form, it's for a reason. There's some nugget in here for you, or multiple nuggets in here for you to just pick out, whether they be small silver linings. There might be a few. Peace and love to all. Blessings. Take care and God bless.